we are headed to be an adult. And if you know anything about me and the channel, maybe adulting is not my favorite thing to do. So welcome, come on in. This morning we are headed to the estate attorney to sign our official trust, will, living will, power of attorney, all of that paperwork that makes me a good old official adult. I know that there are a lot of people who never get around to getting those things in place, but me and Dwayne, which I have shared on here, we have been meeting with a financial advisor who has really gotten our mindset wrapped around protecting all the things that we're working so hard on right now. Not only for our spouse if the other one spouse passes away, but also for our children. Good morning. So we are headed to the law office to sign our drafts, well, what were drafts, to make them official and get those filed with the state. And yesterday was the boys, good morning. Yesterday was the boys' third birthday. So we officially have 3-year-olds. I know I have been introducing them as 3, but they have been 2 this whole time. They're just so big. So really quick, I want to talk about their birthday party. I want to talk about postpartum. The reason some people ask me why I talk about mental health so much, one moment, hold on, people are driving crazy. People ask me why I talk about mental health so much, like why am I beating a dead horse, talking about ADHD and things of that nature. And I talk about them because I went through them. I sometimes still struggle with certain things, and I really don't think that there are front-running examples of what that truly looks like, and also how you move forward and don't let it be debilitating and don't allow it to consume your life, because things still got to go on, right? If you have children, you don't get the luxury of being down in the dumps. You don't get the luxury of dealing with depression in a way that would allow you to just curl up into a ball. You don't. You have got to still continue to work through things. So that is why I talk about it so heavily. And also, I think that if someone had have shared their postpartum journey with me, I would have been better prepared and wouldn't have had the postpartum experience that I did have. Now, mind you, of course, hormones and things of that nature are out of our control, but mental preparation is huge. So really quickly, the boys were born September of 2021. Okay, so we are 3 years out, of course. And this was on the back end of the pandemic. So I found out that we were pregnant coming back from the government shutdown. And then a lot of people don't know that I had opened a 6-chair salon, right before 6 months right before the government shutdown. So August of 2019, I opened up the salon. Then the salon closed down, and then as we were getting good footing, I found out we were pregnant, which we were trying. We were like, yes, we're pregnant. Wait a minute though, it's 2. Oh dear Jesus, we done did it now. If we was trying to do it, we did it. Okay. And so I never could have fathomed the level of responsibility. And it's like, of course, Judge Mila. But it was like night and day. And this time I was dealing with undiagnosed ADHD. Hello, good morning. I was dealing with undiagnosed ADHD, and that was dangerous because I didn't know how my ADHD showed up in my life. I knew who I was. I knew how I showed up in this world, but I didn't understand myself fully enough to even fathom how not being able to perform and not being able to produce and not being able to do the things, my long task list of being a twin mom, not being able to do and execute those things, how that would make me feel, right? In addition to the body image issues, in addition to the sleep deprivation, in addition to the sound sensitivity of hearing 2 kids cry all day long, right? So, so let's talk about the actual first few months. Let's talk about the first year, the second year, and how at year 3 I finally after 3 years I finally feel adjusted. And that also speaks to their level of independence and just their growth and them being able to like assist themselves, help themselves, and us having a routine. So my pregnancy was beautiful. My pregnancy was, you would have never even known I was pregnant with twins. My pregnancy was probably better than 99% of people who carry one child, let alone twin pregnancy. I never threw up. I never had morning sickness. The only thing that I experienced during my pregnancy as far as discomfort was around ligament pain, which we know, twin mom, and I can relate completely. Okay, tell the people, because wow. It is, unless you have twins, like having kids is crazy, right? Having 2 kids is crazy too. But that step in age, especially first time moms to twins, is like, do you want to jump off a cliff? When I say jump off a cliff, do you want to bungee cord into motherhood? Because that is what first time twin motherhood is. So needless to say, my pregnancy was it. Like, I was like, okay, like I would honestly get pregnant again. I would carry again, okay? But raising is another story. So, like I said, the only discomfort I was feeling was round ligament pain, okay? Of course, I'm carrying a lot of belly. I'm only 130 pounds. I'm 5'8" at 130 pounds, so I'm fairly thin, as you may realize. And so I did wear a brace to carry around. I was 60 pounds heavier, okay, with just the belly. And so right down, like in my groin, I just felt like there was, and mothers know, you know, we know what it feels like this, that deep groin, like, just like discomfort, right? That's all I ever experienced. And then, enough, 2 weeks before, I didn't get that. I had none of that anymore. I just started having like the best pregnancy ever. Like, I was sleeping deep, but little did I know my body was preparing to give birth. Okay, so, well, I mean, I did know, but either way. So got them home. We were in the hospital for less than 48 hours. Okay, my water broke at 5:30. They were out by 9:30. Quick. Okay, 5:30, made it to the hospital at 6:30. They were out by 9:30. Okay, I did do a C-section. They were born a minute apart. And then that was Thursday night. By Saturday afternoon, we were home. Okay, here goes your kids, ma'am. Y'all go home, right? Pumping, sanitizing bottles, diaper changes. I was waking the boys up in the middle of the night. Child, don't do that. Whoever tells y'all to wake y'all babies up, do not wake them babies up, especially when you have 2, okay? Because I really think that was something that rolled over to their sleep patterns for the rest, like for a year and a half, in particular with the baby twin. So the sleep deprivation was insane, okay? At the time, I was not working, and my husband and sleep deprivation, I just felt like we were having more of a time both trying to help at night. So I was like, you know what, Dwayne, you have to go to work. I will handle the nighttime. Why did I do that? Why did I ever say that? Like, off of one night of him not being able to function and kind of being in my way, I was like, no, just like me being controlling, okay? Me knowing myself more now than then. And so for over a year, going on to 2 years, I would get up if they would get up. And not so if I'm getting up in the middle of the night, then what happens during the daytime? Okay, I'm caring for them. So that kind of is the climate that you can lay out everything I'm about to talk about on. So I felt like I was having an identity crisis. And when I say that, like, people don't talk about how you lose yourself in becoming a mom. Like, who am I now? Who am I after I've had these kids? And forgive me if the internet cuts out, because I am riding through the woods, through the boonies. Y'all know how that goes. I'm going to read your message, Chisa, when I get a second. So I'm about to come to a stop or a roundabout in a second. So the identity crisis. So there's a sense of like mourning your independent self. And like, of course, you know, and so when I'm saying these things, when you go to have a baby, you of course know that you are going to become a mom, okay? You of course know that you'll be caring for this child. But when it comes to emotional shift and the adjustment, that is what I'm speaking about. I'm not speaking about the fact like, oh yes, I signed up to be a twin mom. Like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the adjustment period and what it feels like as a woman, and the things that aren't talked about, the emotions that you feel as you're going through it, and being and giving value to that, making them valid, because it happens. And unless you are the mom, everyone else, even your spouse or your mate, make you feel like it's not that serious, or you know what I mean, like you need support. You need your own support. You don't need people to just care for the kids. You need your own mental support. So I highly encourage anyone who has, is about to have a baby, who has just had a baby, who isn't in therapy, to sign up for therapy, because it helped greatly. At the 6-month mark, and I'll go back and talk about like that 6 months to leading up to therapy, but as the 6-month mark, I became burnt out, and I literally could not do it by myself anymore. When I say by myself, I'm talking about like internally dealing with my adjustment to motherhood. So I did start therapy at 6 months. So let's talk about what led to me signing up for therapy, right? The morning of my individuality, of my ability to just do whatever I wanted, like I would consider myself, before having children, a selfish person, okay? And I never knew how huge of an adjustment it would be caring for 2 people, because there would be no time for me. This is an obvious thing, right? It's like, duh, no, you don't, there's no time for you. But there was like, okay, now what does my mind do with this shift, right? And so it was like a treat to ride and go to run errands without the kids. Like, just what carried me through and helped me remember who I was before I had kids was riding and listening to music really loudly, like having personal concerts in my car, riding to Walmart to go grocery shopping. Okay, so that was one aspect of it. I am very tiny, so I had a huge stretching situation going on with my stomach. So looking at my stomach taking months, my uterus taking months to come back to shape, to tighten up. I think it's called diastasis recti. I'm probably mixing those words around, but the separation of your ab walls. All of that takes time. Okay, my skin had become completely, like, extremely dark. My skin had became extremely dark, and so I'm standing in the mirror looking at my body like, whose body is this? When is this gonna look like something I'm used to? I'll never be able to wear any of my favorite clothes again, like mourning yet again who I was before having kids. So we talked about the sleep deprivation. We talked about the identity crisis of no longer being an independent person. We talked about body imaging. And so there is also a component of this where your relationship with your spouse, there is no time. Really quickly, Chisa said, I never woke them up and made sure I fed them at the same time. They were on a strict schedule. Yeah. If I could go back, I would have never woke them up. I did feed them at the same time, but I really put my foot in my mouth. I really shot myself really bad with that. But I was so concerned. Now I know, of course, babies drop their weight when they first are born. You know what I mean? But because I was just anxiety. Okay, I was like, I gotta make sure my kids are healthy. So needless to say, there was no time for a relationship. Okay, I am, as a mom, I am worried only and concerned only about the survival. You really are in like mama bear, lion with her cubs. You are in that survival of the fittest mentality. Okay, you're concerned about their well-being, like extremely. It's like an instinctual thing that that's that anxiety. That's what that anxiety is. Like, are my kids surviving? Are they well? Are they going to be okay? And so eventually, as they became more independent, and like probably around the year mark, I could literally feel a wave of comfort, a wave of like less anxiety come over me. Like, they were coming down the stairs one day, I remember specifically, because every time we have very tall ceilings, so our steps have extra, like our flight is extra tall, and seeing them at the top of the steps always give me anxiety. But I knew eventually they had to figure out how to come down the steps. And this day in particular, I realized that they really had it, that they were confident, and I could feel like, okay, Jamila, you don't have to worry about this so much. So that's that. So as far as the day in, the day out, it was a marathon. People never talk about how the days just blur together. Okay, Monday, is it Monday? Is it Friday? Is it Sunday? What day is it? Because the hours just, it doesn't stop, especially when you're deep sleep deprived, especially when one twin will go down and the other twin will wake up. So eventually, after 6 months of that, I was like, I just can't deal with these emotions anymore. One day I'm happy, I'm not really even able to enjoy my kids being this small because I just feel like I'm being a workaholic. I'm just a robot. Like, clean the bottles, pump, feed the baby, put the baby down, change the light. And of course, these are the tasks and duties that you do as a mom, but no break, no mental clarity, not realizing that eventually this will all end, that they will get older, being concerned, one having, eczema issues and stomach issues. We had to give Leland Miralax because he wasn't pooping properly. He was very sensitive. Then, did we talk about the formula shortage? Oh, the formula shortage was insane, y'all. Not me trying to make some formula. I knew that it was not recommended. I knew, but there literally was no formula. The formulas that my children were drinking, they didn't have any of that. And if I could go back, like we talk about going back and not waking up your children, I would go back and I would just give them whatever I would have, essentially. Granted, Leland was the one who needed the special formula, so I was just giving both of them the special formula. It was a lot. So after about 3 months of pumping, I never produced enough milk for both babies, so I decided to just give it up. I know you're supposed to pump around 8 times a day. I was barely getting the 5th pump in, and it was not enough milk. So I was very fortunate and grateful that I did my 3 months, but something had to give, okay? Something had to give, and it was the pumping, okay? Now, I stopped pumping before the formula recall. So if I had known, of course, how can we expect that? Just like how could we expect a pandemic? I would have kept on pumping. Child, that's neither here nor there. They 3, they survived, they all right? But yeah, so when I decided to sign up for therapy through my burnout, even though I was going through my postpartum journey, the therapy was not for my postpartum journey. The therapy was the fact that postpartum left no more room to cope with what I was dealing with before having the kids. It blew the lid off of all of the stuff that was unearthed. It literally said, oh, you thought you was good, you thought you was successful, you thought that you was, thriving. Oh, absolutely not. Your household, your family is dysfunctional. Not my nuclear family, not me and my husband and my kids, the generations of family that you have. Like, it's a mess and it's brewing in you, and you're not gonna be able to continue to have new hits and new hurts with your family and still be able to care for your kids and take care of your kids. You're going to have a breakdown. You're going to have burnout. You're going to have a breakdown. You're going to literally lose your mind. Okay. And so therapy was the beginning of being able to manage my new lifestyle as a twin mom. In all of this, as I'm telling you all of this, the thing that I desperately wanted the most was to be able to still be a business owner. I know it sounds crazy, but for 10 years, I built the texture brand, the hair care brand that I had, but I could not, for the life of me, being that it's like a creative venture for me, build like social media and taking care of my clients. Like, I was wanting so desperately to get back to being able to manage the twins and be able to take care of my clients, and I did not have it. I did not have it, and like, I was fighting, and I was giving myself so much pressure around that when I didn't have it to pressurize myself on that. We were in need of money at the time, between the pandemic, my husband coming just from another country and not really able to get a good footing. While the boys were newborns, my husband was studying for a real estate exam to become a realtor. He is, of course, a realtor now. He has been for 2 years, but Baby, back then it was a lot. Someone said pumping is intense. Okay. And I chose pumping because I knew I couldn't tandem feed. I knew that I could not have two babies clingy. Like I just knew. So I chose pumping. Two hands on the steering wheel, please. I might be in the same traffic. I haven't even really looked at the camera, so please understand that even though I'm talking to you all on live, my first priority is always, I would literally let this camera fall, I would let this live just be a hot mess before I would do anything risky. I know that some of us potentially steer the wheel with their knee or whatever the case may be, but know that this car is on this road and I got this. Okay. Thank you. I haven't had but so many car accidents, and they were in my very young. That's neither here nor there. Okay. 34 now, haven't had car accidents in close to a decade. All right. So shoot, 13 years, matter of fact. So yes, that's not my full postpartum journey, but it's a lot of it. There were nights where I was crying. There were times where I thought I couldn't do it anymore. There were times where I was like, what did I sign up for? There were times where I was like, get somebody else to do it. And these are just these are just honest experiences and thoughts. There were times where, honey, y'all see me oftentimes, if y'all follow me on Instagram, or I have these on all the time, and that is to muffle the sound. You're going to hear your kids regardless, okay? But when the boys were so young, because I was the main person who took care of them at night, I would sleep in their room with them. And has anyone ever been woken up startled by a crying kid? Like, it's like getting splashed with cold water. That makes your heart, like, that literally creates anxiety in your heart, and it's not a good feeling, okay? Night after night after night. So there were so many different things that I experienced. And then, so past the 6-month mark, when they were, newborns turning into infants, going into toddlerhood, Leland actually woke up every night for 18 months for milk. Okay, so Leland's stomach seems to be small. I mean, he always had, challenges with digestion and, going and so on and so forth. So it seemed like he just didn't eat a lot during the day. So he always would wake up at night for milk. Okay, 18 months worth. And I mean every night. There were probably maybe 3 or 4 nights in that 18-month mark that towards the end he didn't wake up. So, oh Lord, I was just praying for the day. Like, there would be nights where I didn't start getting good sleep until they turned 2. Wasn't even able, even when they started sleeping well, I still was like up, like trying to anticipate them getting up so that I wouldn't be either startled or so that I wouldn't get into a deep sleep and then like miss it. Like, child. What started to help me manage and balance more, not only was therapy, was them going to summer school. Okay, so summer school was great. They started that not this past summer, the summer before last. So I started to get 3 hours a day where I could just do whatever, really. It didn't matter. And honestly, I sat at Starbucks. Okay, y'all know that Starbucks is my office. I started sitting at Starbucks. I started being able to get creative again. I started being able to be my little neurospicy self and focus on figuring out my new norm as a business owner and a mom. Then during the school year, they go to school for 4 hours. So during the summer it's 3 hours, but during the school year it's 4 hours. I also started to try to plan trips. I've started to get back into servicing clients. I found a salon space. I went from working inside of my house. I took our loft and turned it into a personal suite, an in-home suite. We had to get up out the house, okay? I just, my anxiety was less. It was easier to take them. So before, you would have to have a huge baby bag, okay? You got to plan for all events. You need a change of clothes. You need all these things, right? But as they got older, we could just go with like a pamper, and a wipe, and a cup, okay? And then they start not even needing cups, okay? Because you can drink off the side of a bottle. So, ooh, Lord Jesus. So, yeah, those little things, those small bits of growth they all accumulated to us now. Child, we just be running out the house, okay? We need to go somewhere. Let's go ahead. Let's get in the car. Y'all got y'all potty trained. Y'all have y'all pull-ups on. It's such a free life. It's such a carefree life. Now, of course, baby, toddlers be tolerant. They still have a meltdown. They still have all kind of, needs and things of that nature, but they are like little adults now. Before, they were completely helpless. Is that what I'm before? They needed all of my attention, and now, they play with each other. They can, be, in doing little activities and stuff. They feed themselves, like all this. They sleep through the night. Praise the Lord. So, yeah, that was a short snapshot of what my postpartum journey looked like as a first-time mom of twins. I actually have a book that I've been writing since they were newborns. I outlined it then to kind of to speak on all the things that I felt then. I just didn't speak about them. I didn't complete it then. So the book will be interesting because there will be portions of the book that were written in real time, and then portions that are written from a perspective of being able to go through them and push through them. And I really think that it will be helpful. My therapist is really encouraging me to finish this book because she knows that there are tons of Black moms that would benefit from it, and she wants to buy like 100 of them and put them in her office and take them everywhere she goes. Yeah, we are meant to, we are made and, created to give birth and to have kids. What I know now about myself is that potentially I may not have been, the best suited to have twins. I'm doing the best I can, and I give myself grace in that. We all do the best that we can, but knowing what I know about my mind and about my anxiety and about, like, I'm willing to do the work to show up given my personal challenges, okay? So my personal challenges and twin motherhood might not, but I'm going to do my best to make sure that I am patient and kind with my kids, that I take time for myself so that when I show up to be around them, that I can give them all of my attention and I can make sure I support them emotionally. If I'm feeling out of control or discombobulated or needing, assistance, I will ask for that. I will reach out for that. And I, want to encourage people to honor their emotions because they're valid. Like you feel them, right? It's not like the feeling is just going to go away if you don't address it or if you don't, make space for it. I just wanted to come in and share that. I did deal with a little bit of depression. It was more anxiety than depression. And the depression really spawned from me wanting to get back to work, wanting to excel in motherhood and entrepreneurship, and realizing that it was going to be harder than I thought. Okay, like this isn't an easy walk. Motherhood isn't easy. Entrepreneurship isn't easy. Why do I think I'm just going to do these two hard things really well as a first-time mom to twins? Okay, why am I going to beat myself up over this? And it's only because I'm used to succeeding. I'm used to it's easy for me to do things, right? And so all of that put together created my postpartum journey. Postpartum is like, oh Lord, it's like a detour in life. So you going through life, you meet someone, male or female, who you want to start a family with. You're like, yes, we're on the road, okay, to the white picket fence. Mind you, that's the American dream. The American dream made for all the Americans, okay? You find this person who you think is a great candidate to raise children with. You have the children. Pregnancy is beautiful. Oh my gosh, everything phenomenal. Wedding phenomenal. Everything phenomenal. And then you have the babies, And then somewhere in them hormones and that adjustment phase, it do this, okay? And this might go all the way over here, okay? That detour may go all the way to the left. And if no one has prepared your mind, and if no one is validating your emotions in that space could go even deeper. And all while you're in this deep space, you still have to care for the kids, which is just like, what? Who is supposed to do this? And I'm here to encourage you, Mama Bear, if you're watching this, that you can do it, that you will do it, and that one day you'll look up and your kids will not be newborns. They will not be infants. They will not be the little cute little squishy little blobs of, you know, muscleless, you know, babies that they are. And they'll be 3, and then they're not gonna want you to hold them. Now luckily my kids still want me to pick them up, but baby, they are heavy, okay? And they want me to pick them up at the same time. Who picking up 60 pounds of twins? I still do, but who do they think is gonna keep on doing that? So I hope that whoever watches this and whoever finds this, and this is going to be on the YouTube streets for, you know, until eternity, until infinity and beyond. I hope that the mom, because I'm 34, I hope that the mom who's maybe in their 20s or their early 30s, like, that they find this, that they feel seen, they feel heard, that they understand that they are not alone, that every emotion and every experience and everything that is happening as your babies are babies, like, you doing it right. You ain't sleeping, yep, you doing it right. If you have a great baby, if you have a baby that doesn't have colic, if you have a baby that's not super loud and fussy, great. But the fact of the matter is that everybody's baby is different. Every scenario as far as parenting is concerned is different, and this is just mine. I am so grateful for the amount of growth and maturity, and like, I don't know who I would be if I hadn't experienced that detour. If I hadn't experienced these past 3 years of my kid's life. Like, growing up is just challenging, and luckily I embrace life lessons. And so I'm just thankful to have become the woman that I am now, and be the twin mom. So I will share some videos. If you're on Instagram following me at JamilaEvans.com, I share like all of their like 1 month, 2 month, 3 month photos, like old videos, like just squishy little globs, all the way up to their party at Chuck E. Cheese. So that is over on my stories on Instagram. It will probably go away in the next few hours because, you know, they only stay over there for 24 hours. So I definitely share more of my day-to-day on Instagram. Go follow me over there at Jamila Evans. But over here we have deep conversations, and I really go into how things are making me feel, and so on and so forth. I'm over here remember, we're adulting today. We're doing big girl things adulting. I'm at the lawyer's office, and I'm about to go in here. I don't see my husband, but I'm about to go in here because we're about to sign our living will, our power of attorney, and our trust. If you don't have those things and you have kids or you have a spouse, okay, go ahead and adult today. If I can do it, you can do it. If I, Jamila Evans, who adults with ADHD, the licensed cosmetologist, the natural hair educator, if I can show up and sign this paperwork for my future, for my kids, in the case of something happening, everything that I worked hard for these past 10 years, for it to be protected, you can do it too. Okay, set your money to the side and get it handled, because, you know, in our community, when Uncle George passes on, everybody trying to get all of his stuff. But he wouldn't have to worry about that if he had set it up properly before he passed on, and they wouldn't be fighting at his gravesite. Okay, I'll see y'all later. Until next time, bye.